Cheers. It's not, it's coffee. I mean, you can't really see because I don't want to tip it over, but it's definitely coffee. Anyway, what's up guys? So I wanted to make a video to answer a lot of the questions that I got. I did not do a Q&A video like I said I was going to, mainly because I was working on different projects at the time, so wasn't able to get that done, but I wanted to make a video to kind of answer some of those questions. These are questions that I get all the time. I don't answer them like as frequently because it's a little weird, but just work with me here. Okay, so first things first, what camera do I use? Currently I use the A7 II. I was using the 5D Mark II for a really long time, but I was trusting too much on the 5D, and I bought an A7 II after swapping out my A7, and I really enjoy the dynamic range, so I switched. I've also been using a picture profile called the EOS HD Pro Color for Sony cameras, which gives me Canon colors on a Sony camera, and it works really well. Some people can't even tell that I even switched from a 5D to a Sony. So really recommend it if you have an A7. They make them for the A7, A7 II, A7 III, all those different varieties you can get the profile in. So I highly recommend it if you can do it. All right, next question I get, which actually I can answer differently this time. But Jason asks, what lens do you use when you're using your Sony camera? Do you use native lenses or do you adapt? So both. For the A6300, which I'm recording on right now, I use the 18-105 f4G, which is an outstanding lens. Compare it to a 24-105, it's exactly what it is. And then for the A7 II, I actually sold my 24-70 and got the 18-35 Sigma Art, which I really enjoy. It was just a better lens for me right now because I can use it on this camera here if I want to, or I can use it on the A7 at 35 millimeters, and it's really fast lens. It's stupid sharp at 1.7, and if you stop it down to 2.8, it's the sharpest lens I've ever used. So definitely recommend those two lenses. I am picking up a new 24-70 pretty soon, and also a 24-105. And then a couple other lenses to be able to complete the focal lengths. But right now, those are the only two lenses I use, but I did use the 24-70 Canon L Mark I for pretty much everything up until about the last month and a half. And it's been an outstanding lens. The only thing I didn't like about it was wide open. It's only sharp in the middle, which does not help a ton. It's great for the face, but everything else, it gets kind of weird. So if you're looking for a good pro lens to start out with, 24-70 Mark I or a 24-70 in general is a great focal length. I actually feel really naked without it, but that'll change pretty soon. Next question I get is from Abby, and Abby asks, love your videos, would love to know what editing software you use for your videos. Currently I use Final Cut Pro X. It's a great system. It's pretty much like a glorified iMovie, but it does have a lot of advanced features that iMovie doesn't have. It doesn't have as much flexibility and professionalism, like professional features like the Adobe Premiere, but it is a really good system and I highly recommend it. All right, this next one's from Jay, and he asks, what gimbal do you use? Well, currently I use the Zhiyun Crane 2, but before that I actually didn't use any gimbal at all. I actually was just doing everything handheld, using the 18-105G, which has image stabilization in it, which works really well. But right now the gimbal I use is Zhiyun Crane. I use a Zhiyun Crane right now mainly because it doesn't require a thing called PID tuning. It's really complicated software that you use to tune your gimbal to your lens and camera combination. And for a lot of the gimbals on the market, other than I think Ronin, Feiyu, Zhiyun, and Nebula, these other gimbals, you need to use this PID software. So for the Zhiyun Crane, you don't have to use this PID software. So all you do is take it out of the box, slap a camera on it, balance it, and go shoot with it, and it looks pretty good. The drawback to the Zhiyun Crane is it still doesn't take that much weight. For the Zhiyun Crane 2, it does take up to 8 pounds, I believe, but the Zhiyun Crane 1 and the V2 don't take that much weight, only about 1.5 kilograms, which is more or less, I think, like 5 or 6 pounds, something like that. So it's not that much if you're using something like a 5D, but the Zhiyun Crane 2 is really good. I took it out of the box, didn't know how to balance it, but balanced it pretty well and went and shot with it, and it looks pretty good. So I'd recommend the Zhiyun Crane 2. V1, V2, all that stuff, I would do any of those. They work really well. Next question I get is, how do you find your models? I just reach out, just send messages, send DMs, things like that. You'll be able to get lots of responses. And if you have really good work, it shouldn't be hard for them to say yes. Sometimes you will get no's. Just be aware that most everybody will say no. And at that point, you'll not be so disappointed. Next one is, do I plan to get any new cameras? Yes. Do you plan on getting an A7 III? And then I'll replace the A7 II with an A7 R2 or an A7 S2, depending on which one I want. And then I am gonna sell the A6300. I may pick up an A6500. Realistically, I don't have a reason to do that, but with the A6500, I do get in-body image stabilization, which is what the A7 II has, and that's actually become really, really helpful, especially shooting vintage lenses or lenses that don't have stabilization. So definitely a great buy. But right now, for sure, I'm gonna get that, an RX100 Mark IV. I actually really do miss the RX100s. I did have one, and they were really good cameras, honestly, for what it was. And then I am planning on getting a Fuji camera for fun, and I'm just trying to figure out which one I want. Probably gonna end up doing either the X-T2 or the X Pro 2. I haven't really decided yet, but when that comes around, I'm sure you'll know about it. Next question, do you always shoot in national forests, or do you like doing city more? I do prefer national forests over city shots. I do not like doing stuff in the city all that often. It's really, really hard for me to get good composition. And I know it sounds really weird because some people are like, but there's lines everywhere and all this stuff. You gotta remember that I started in the national forest, so when I'm thinking about my composition, it's far different from the city. And I also like, I still don't super like only subject-centered portraits. I like incorporating the background when I can, or something like that. Something that's interesting in the background. Just not as much as I used to, I guess, is the best way to say it. But nonetheless, definitely prefer national forests over city, 100%. You can find me in the mountains. And then the last question I'll answer for right now, which is, how did you get into video? I shot guns for a really, really long time, and that community is based around doing videos to show off your skills, and eventually I just carried all of that over into the videos that you see now. I also shoot video for my church and stuff like that, which does help me hone that skill, but it's generally the same angles over and over and over again, and it's really hard to get any new shots because you don't want to interrupt the service as you're doing it. So yeah, and if you want to see any of those videos, let me know and I can link them in my IGTV for you. Other than that, guys, that's an update. Thank you to everyone who's actually like come out and shoot with me, or have reached out to shoot. It's been really, really helpful to shoot all these amazing people, meet these amazing people, make new friends, rekindle relationships with old friends, and really just produce the content that hopefully you guys are enjoying. I really like them. I don't plan on changing my style anytime soon, and I definitely won't change them for the people that are on my Instagram. For people who are following me, who enjoy my content, I assume you're following me because of that reason and nothing more. So anyway, thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one.